Every time that Sheridan Irick tells someone that she is originally from Oklahoma City, their eyes get a little wide and they ask her, what was it like moving from there to Partridge, Kansas? Going from being born and raised in the city to living and working in rural Reno County has definitely been an adjustment, but there's been plenty to learn and love along the way. Here's Sheridan with City Girl, Country Pastor.
I've lived in Partridge, Kansas for a little over 2.5 years now. And every time I tell someone I'm from Oklahoma City, they say something like, that must have been a big adjustment. And in some ways, it was. The first neighbors that I met were a pretty good indicator that my life had changed. They would gather at the fence when I took my dog for a walk, and the boldest and most curious of them, the one in the front with the fluffy ears, would follow us along the fence line, much to my dog's chagrin. He's from the city, too. The first image shows the square mile between major streets that marked the outer limits of where I could ride my bike when I was growing up. The second is the entire town of Partridge. I walked further to elementary school in the mornings than I walk to the church where I work now. I remember the first time I tried to map out a 3-mile run in Partridge and realized I would have to run out of town in order to get the miles in. I have to admit, though, the views are nicer. My runs now often feature stops for photos of wheat fields or sunsets or clouds. Before I went into ministry, I worked for the Chamber of Commerce right on Main Street in downtown Oklahoma City. I got used to navigating rush hour traffic and walking uneven sidewalks in heels, and on nights when I worked late, I held an open wood carving knife in my pocket when I had to walk down the alley to the parking garage. I still work on Main Street, but this one looks a little different. Now I've gotten used to slowing down behind tractors and walking on gravel in heels, and I confess that recently I have even forgotten to lock my car door occasionally when I go into the church. When I began rural ministry, another rural clergy person told me, rural ministry is wonderful, and you'll meet incredible, warm-hearted, friendly people, but you will always be an outsider. But I imagine that's true of most places, not just rural ones. In Oklahoma City, people might not ask about your family history, but they might ask where you were on April 19th, 1995 at 9:02 a.m. I was in my 4th grade classroom, 7 miles away, and I will never forget the sound of my city changing forever when the Alfred P. Murrah building was bombed. Or they might ask you about your tornado experiences. Have you taken shelter, watched one coming, helped clean up? What they are really asking with these questions is, do you understand the things that make us who we are? Can you be counted on when hard times come again? Perhaps when we leave our hometowns, wherever they are, wherever we go, we are always outsiders. But I've found that being an outsider is its own gift. When you are an outsider, you get to learn. Here is a member of my church attempting to teach me how to, wrong slide. When you're an outsider, you get to try new things. I've added new card games, new traditions, and new recipes to my life. But I've seen some of you Kansans dip cinnamon rolls in bowls of chili, and this Okie is not ready for that yet. When you're an outsider, you get to learn. Here, a member of my church attempts to teach me how to use a sewing machine for the first time in about 20 years. But I have also taken up silversmithing and learned about showing goats and how auctions work and what crops get harvested and when. When you are an outsider, you have to accept help. This was taken after a church workday when a church member insisted on driving me and my dog back to the house. but church members have also helped me repair my dryer and pull my car out of a ditch after a snowstorm. None of us can do it on our own. When you're an outsider, you get to make unexpected friendships. When I moved to town, I was invited to join a local book club. The first time I hosted it, every single chair in my house was put to use. There is a 60-year age range in our group, and you can tell at a glance that we come from different backgrounds, but we're drawn together by what we share. When you're an outsider, you get to discover what a new place has to offer. I can't pick up Thai takeout from a place a couple of blocks away on a whim these days, but I know the people who raise my eggs and beef and vegetables. When you are an outsider, you get to see the beauty of a place with fresh eyes. This place often takes my breath away with its sunsets and its wide expanse of sky and its waving fields. In fact, I highly recommend being an outsider at some point in your life, taking a chance on a new place or new people or a new skill. And if you can't be an outsider, I hope you can at least step back occasionally to view the familiar from a different vantage point. And if I'm still an outsider, I am at least less of one. One of the first community events I ever attended in Reno County was a Talk20 given shortly after I had moved here. When I was asked to speak tonight, I felt a little like I had arrived. Don't worry though, I still know how to find free parking in downtown Oklahoma City and touch up my lipstick and the reflection of a storefront window when I don't have a mirror. I haven't lost all my city girl ways. Now I find that when I'm in Partridge and I say I'm going home, I mean Oklahoma City. And when I'm in Oklahoma City and I say I'm going home, I mean Partridge. I don't need this photo to remember the night I walked back to my house and saw the clouds above and all the windows aglow and knew clearly for the first time that I was walking home.